Hello, folks. This is Primetime James Thomas of the Primetime Movie Network, and I'm coming at you with another video, and then just some news that dropped last night. That is that David Gordon Green, yes, David Gordon Green, DGG himself, the man himself, has exited the Exorcist franchise. Of course, he directed The Exorcist Believer, and last year, and he is gone. And this comes from Variety. David Gordon Green exits Exorcist sequel as Universal Blumhouse search for a new director, and they just want to say, and I saw this coming. I saw this coming, but now I'll just read the rest of the article. Deceiver's been removed from the Universal release calendar, replaced by Antu Fuqua's Michael Jackson biopic, Michael, arriving in April 18, 2025. Meanwhile, Green is in production on The Nutcracker, starring Ben Stiller, in season 4 of HBO's Righteous Gemstones. Oh, and I forgot to read this first paragraph here. David Gordon Green has exited Exorcist Deceiver, the 2025 sequel to last year's poorly received sequel to the horror franchise in Universal Blumhouse project, The Exorcist Believer, which failed to conjure up the big bucks at the box office and received frighteningly bad reviews, with Variety chief film critic Owen Globerin writing the cliches of demonic pile. Sorry, lost put my tongue back in. Where's Paul? Let me rewind. Exorcist Believer failed to conjure up the big bucks at the box office and received frighteningly bad reviews of Variety film critic Owen Globerman writing the cliches of demonic possession pile up with dustful nostalgia, but we've lost the shock value, like the horror genre in general in many ways. Believer brought in $65 million at the box office, plus $70 million in international market. Green wrote the screenplay with Peter Salter and shares a story credit with Scott Teems and Righteous Gemstones mastermind Danny McBride, who also wrote and executive produced Green with the Halloween trilogy. The Exorcist Believer is set 50 years after and serves as direct sequel to William Friedkin's masterpiece, which was the first horror movie to be nominated for Academy Award for Best Picture. Did you know that? That's pretty cool. Ellen Burstyn reprised her role as Chris McNeil, who has now helped the two young girls possessed by a demonic force before Believer was released. 2 sequels were confirmed to be in development with Green, McBride, and Salter and teams on board. So interesting that tells me that they must have signed. Well, I will assume they signed a 3-picture deal. Interesting. And is Scott Teems, Salter, and McBride still attached? I mean, I could see McBride leaving if Green's leaving, but you never know. Who knows? I don't know anyway. Interesting enough, Gordon's exit as director is not entirely surprising, as it was reported the franchise will undergo some creative changes following Believer's poor reception. Before taking the reins on the Exorcist reboot, Green wrote and directed the final Halloween movies, which starred Jamie Lee Curtis and grossed nearly $500 million at worldwide box office. So there you go. David Gordon Green is out. So what does this mean? Well, it's not surprising. And I think this has been, I think Green saw the writing on the wall for quite some time, because I believe in one of the interviews that was released in the marketing leading up to the release of Believer, there was an interview. I'm almost positive there was an interviewer. I'm going to paraphrase this, but the interviewer was asking about, the future and the universe and that they're creating and all that kind of stuff, and whether or not Green was going to be back or not. And Green was kind of hummed and hawed, kind of danced around it. He wasn't sure whether or not he was going to be back. I wonder if he was sitting behind Jason Blum, because I believe he also did a dual interview with him and Blum in the same seat in a white background. I'm almost positive, but I stand to be corrected. And I specifically remember him going on, well, we'll see, we'll see what it does. All those. She wasn't really sure. He didn't say, no, I'm not coming back. He just didn't seem deadlocked on coming back. So I think that this has been on the wall for quite some time, and I know it will probably be to the happiness of many of you, including Paul. Listen, I don't think David Gordon Green's a bad director. I don't know. I feel with him in horror, it feels like there's stuff about, again, There's stuff that he did I like, and there was some things that he did I wish I'd go further with. I'm not one of those like, fuck David Gordon Green, fuck him. No, I'm not like that. But I'm also not somebody that's eager to see him direct my next favorite horror franchise or something like that. I mean, I've said it here all the time. Halloween 2018, it was a good slasher film. It just wasn't great, and it could have been great. And I believe that David Gordon Green dropped the ball on a lot of things when it comes to Halloween. Now, how the movie was shot, how it looks, spot on. Spot on. It's a beautifully directed film. Just creatively, I feel like David Gordon Green and his team just dropped the ball. So, I don't know. But what does this mean? Or who do we get to direct? Who do they get to direct? And I don't know. I don't know if this means that the sequel's in jeopardy, or it would not. It would not be surprised. It would not surprise me if Blumhouse, mind you, they also Universal also spent $400 million on the rights. So you kind of almost feel like you gotta move on with the other two films so you can make something back. Unless they, I don't know. It somehow wouldn't surprise me if we find out that they're just not moving forward. And it wouldn't surprise me if I'm saying this is what they're going to do, but it just wouldn't surprise me. I don't think they will probably move forward. I think they will see this as an opportunity. Now, this may be an opportunity for them to get some fresh blood. Maybe the Seaver be really good. I don't know, but it depends on who is going to be the captain of the ship, who's going to steer this in the right direction. And who do they have in mind? I don't know. It's still too early to tell. I mean, the horror community tends to throw out, you get, James Wan, you get Mike Flanagan, you get the buzz names, the buzzwords of horror. There's probably about 3 or 4 names, certainly at least 2 or 3 popular pop culture names that people know, and they tend to get kind of always resort to those names. Not that James Wan and Mike Flanagan is not terrific directors, of course they are. I'm just simply saying that I don't know. I haven't really sat down and thought much about it because the news just broke. Whether or not they would be great for it, I really don't know. For an Exorcist movie, I don't know, because the drama and the seriousness is so important in this movie that maybe Mike Flanagan might be the better fit for something like this. Not that James Wan couldn't do it, but there's others out there. I mean, there's other horror, or maybe even, you don't have to be a horror specific director, right? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're a director, if you're a filmmaker, and yes, every filmmaker has strengths, every filmmaker has weaknesses, every filmmaker likes to lean into certain genres over others, absolutely. But if you understand filmmaking process, if you understand story and character, then you should at least, the potential exists to cross genres, right? It's like the actors. Some actors are better than some actors are better than others when it comes to comedy, drama, whatsoever. And I understand that. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my TV just fucked up, but you know what I mean. Like there's a lot of different sort of there's a lot of, trying to think of the right word. There's a lot of directors and a lot of talented filmmakers out there that I would look into something, look into digging. You have some time to do some digging, figure it out. You don't need no knee-jerk reactions. You have time. You have time to make an Exorcist film. It's not a Marvel movie. You could shoot the thing and you can shoot it in next January and release it in October. No problem. I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. You just take my advice, take your time, do your due diligence to find somebody who's passionate about the material, and maybe the direction for which they were going with now will alter and change. It depends on who they're bringing on board. They may have certain creative freedom. Maybe they find the direction that we're going to go in is now changing, and there's little bits and pieces that the new filmmaker may come in on board with. And, it depends on how much leverage they have as well. What kind of director is that? That's relatively new director, and there are a seasoned director that kind of has that kind of, that type of power that can get creative freedom. I mean, it's a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. Shoot your foot in the foot as well. But so I don't know. At this point in time, I will say you can say hire this person, but I think we should take our foot off the gas, let it breathe for a little bit. I hope Blumhouse does their due diligence now. However, they could already have somebody in mind, because remember, when news like this breaks, 9 times out of 10, this was decided weeks ago. Okay, kind of like what happened with Melissa Barea when Melissa Barea was fired from Scream. It was reported that they fired Melissa Barea at least a month before the news broke out. So maybe that David Gordon Green found out like a little before Christmas that he was going to get released. Now they could already have somebody in mind. Oh yeah, the headlines, oh, we're searching for a new director. No, they already could have somebody. And then, they're going to wait a couple weeks and maybe a month, to, they'll get all the contract paperwork situated, hash out the creative direction, and so they could make sure they're on the same page and where they want to take the franchise moving forward. If they're going to do anything with David Gordon Green visions or whatsoever, dot all the I's, across the T's, all that kind of stuff. So they could already have somebody in mind, but they don't. If they don't, take your time. There's no need to rush. And we'll have to see where it goes from there. But anyway, folks, that I am Primetime James Thomas of the Primetime Movie Network. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Exorcist Believer, or Deceiver, or Golden Retriever, or Justin Bieber, whatever the hell they're calling these movies. How do you guys feel about David Gordon Green exiting the project? Are you guys happy? Are you guys like, who gives a fuck? How do you guys feel about the Exorcist franchise moving forward? Should they continue on with the franchise? Should they just give up on the project? Let me know your guys' thoughts. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you haven't, don't forget to check out me and Paul's recent Primetime Gorehound movie where we watched Friday the 13th Part 4, which was a fun video. And of course, don't forget to check out my other channels, Primetime Podcast. I just did a Royal Rumble 2004 watch along, and Primetime James Thomas, where my professional wrestling channel, where you can find all my wrestling matches. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here, folks. Everyone have a great night, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace.